ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
सुखथ क्रियते रामा भोः भोगः पश्चादन्त शरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति तथा सुखलेश सत्यम् पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यविवेकविचारम् चाप्यसमेत समाधिविधानं कूर्ववधानं महदवधानम् गुरुचरणाम्बुज निर्भर भक्तः संसारादचिराद्भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निज हृदयस्थं देवम् भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति दुःकृत्करणे
Clarifications. Govindam verse 30. Progressive ways to develop affinity and ananya chinta of the divine. Context one is Sakama and Nishkama Bhakti, then Panchamaha Yajna. Another is Eka Aneka Vishwarupa Bhakti, later Arupa, another is Japa. Could you tell me what comes under what, as in gradation and their subdivision for clarity? Is Panchamaha Yajna Ekarupa Bhakti same? Or Ekarupa Bhakti begins only after Nishkama Karma? Does it mean we are yet to pray to God in Murti form? Second, does Ekarupa will have the Sahasranama Parayana that leads to Ishtadevata later after developing sufficient affinity? 3. Punyakevango, you said Japa has three stages: loud chant, silent with tongue movement, and later mind chants. Does it mean after all these stages I move to Aneka Rupa? Okay. Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti is the concept that teaches you how you should do Bhakti. You can go to God for fulfilling your desires, or you can go to God for Chitta Shuddhi. So that is called Sakama Nishkama Bhakti is the concept. You understand the word concept? So that is not, there is no, it is like saying Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma. Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma is the concept, is the way in which you are going to do action. Action can be done with Sakama, or similarly Bhakti can be done with, there can be a Sakama Bhakti or Nishkama Bhakti. So first thing is Sakama Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti words explain there are two basic concepts. That is the first one. The second clarification. What is the second one? Inga Kakrana. I'll take it from here. Screen board. Yes.
So I said context one is Sakama Nishkama Bhakti, which you clarified just now. And then comes Panchamaha Yajna, then Eka, Aneka, Vishwarupa, Bhakti, and Arupa. And then it's Japa.
Japa.
So I don't know what comes under what, like, as in gradation and there's subdivision. So are they?
Now, various practices are given. One practice is Panchamahayagya. Another practice is Ekarupa and Ekarupa Bhakti, Japa. All these are all various practices given. In all these practices, there are no gradations. All this has to be done in a day. You fix a day, you fix certain specific time for each and everything in a day, and you have to do. There is no first only Panchamahayagya, and then only this, and then only. It doesn't go like that. All this has to be done. All this has to be done in a day according to that mix matching you need to do according to your time, availability, interest, whatever be it. But all this has to be done simultaneously. Simultaneously means in a day. At a given moment, you can't do all the three. Simultaneously means in a day, you have to do all these. Maybe you can start with this. Swadhyaya, I'm saying maybe. It differs from person to person. Maybe you can start your day with Swadhyaya and then do some japa, or maybe you can start the day with Swadhyaya and then do Panchamahayajna, and then later on you can do japa, later on you can do. It depends upon it depends from person, it varies from person to person. So all that we say in this classroom is what all should be incorporated in a day. Able to follow? Imagine the spiritual practices like the food pyramid. What is the food pyramid? You have no how much proteins, how much carbs, how much vitamins. So it is like that pyramid. A complete meal means it should have everything together. Are able to follow? In that, we cannot ask what do I do first, what do I do? All this has to be taken together to have a complete meal. Similarly, for you to make a day useful, you need to do all these practices. If you have done all these practices, then it is a meaningful day. What is a meaningful day? You do your Panchamahayajna, you do your Swadhyaya, you do your Bhakti. Again, in Bhakti, depending upon your maturity, you will be able to do Bhakti in different ways. Again, that Ekarupa Bhakti to Vishwarupa Bhakti to Arupa Bhakti is a concept. Are you able to follow again? The Ekarupa Bhakti to Arupa Bhakti and then to Advaitam is a concept. Now, whatever, at whatever stage you are motivated by, you can do that. For example, somebody will be motivated by a Rupa, by a Murti. Somebody will not be motivated by a Murti. They say, no, I don't believe in these forms and gods and all that. Is not motivating me. Is not inspiring me. What do I do? For them, the method, Bhakti has to be done. Are you able to follow? Somebody will be inspired by the Murti, somebody will not be inspired by the deity. Now, what do we do for them? We can't torture them to go to the Shastra doesn't torture them to go to a Murti. So, for them, okay, if you don't see this, if you don't have this Ishtadevata Murti Bhakti possible, then go to chapter 10 of Vibhuti Yoga. What all is good there, learn to see that as God. That is another method. That is another method. So all the possible methods will be given in a classroom and everybody will find something attractive. They will hold on to that and grow. You follow? Everybody will find something attractive. Supposing somebody is not attracted by Murti, they will be interested in Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa means everything in creation. There is no such thing as good and bad. Everything in creation I want to see as God. Somebody will get inspired by that. Now, who is superior, who is inferior, what are the gradations and all, we are not discussing. Everybody will get inspired by one. That's why in a classroom like this, we have to talk the basics of all spiritual disciplines. Because for the simple reason, we really don't know what will inspire whom. Why we really don't know what will inspire whom? In those days, it was very clearly defined and demarcated and given. Why? Why it was clearly demarcated? Why it was possible to be easily demarcated and given? there was a Gurukula Vasa period. Therefore, it made possible give specific instructions to them and make them leave. In the modern day context, Gurukula is not a possibility at all. Therefore, what do? We have to give all these concepts and everybody has to sit and listen to everything, even though they may not be needing, all this, even though they may not be interested in most of this, but they still have to sit and listen to everything. Why? Something they can get hooked on to and they grow from there. You follow the difference? Therefore, Ekarupa, Anekarupa, Vishwarupa, Arupa, and then Advaitam, all that is concepts in which bhakti should be practiced. You follow what I'm saying? So practices are different, the concepts are different. So Sakama Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti is a concept. Ekarupa, Anekarupa, Vishwarupa, Arupa Bhakti is a concept. What are the practices? Panchamaha Yajna is a practices. Murti, Ishtamurti Devata is the practice. There can be an Ishtamurti Devata practice or it can be something else. And then there's another practice called Japa. And then there's another practice called Pranayama. And then there's another practice called Pratyahara. There are people who get so inspired by Pranayama practice. There are people who just can't relate with Pranayama only. I've seen both. There are people who just the thought of pranayama makes them get inspired so much. There are people who just can't do pranayama. In the yoga class, I have seen people do yoga and they will not do pranayama. There are people who will not do yoga at all, but they will sit and do pranayama. It's so interesting to see those divisions in people. Therefore, what do they do? We see it and we give accordingly. So in this classroom, we cannot give a specific thing. Why we cannot give a specific thing? That's a problem of today. That's why these classes are all so dragging, so much elaboration, so much has to be given. Why? Because of that possibility isn't there. What is the possibility? You go to the Gurukula, you live with the Guru for a while, and then you see like for example, take Carnatic music. Gurukula Vasa for Carnatic music is also important. Now, the musician will know 100 ragas, 150 ragas, but that man will have affinity to a raga. Every singer will have an affinity to 1-2 ragas is their affinity. They know all the ragas. They know all the ragas. Like somebody will have an affinity to Bhairavi. Somebody will have an affinity to there is this beautiful song Nagumomu. Traditionally, till that man Musri Subramanian was alive, nobody, out of sheer respect to that man, others will not sing that song only. Out of sheer respect to that man, most of the other musicians will not even sing that song because the way in which he brings out that bhava and that bhakti and everything through that raga. So when the singer is interpreting a song, he has to imbibe the bhakti of Tyagaraja, and then he has to have his own bhakti. He has to imbibe the bhakti of Tyagaraja. He has to imbibe his own bhakti. It means it differs from person to person. But then in a music classroom, the children will be taught all the ragas. You can't say, why don't you just teach me that one which is relevant to me? It doesn't work like that. Everything will be taught. Over a period of time, you will find out, you will pick up one. Follow what I'm saying? This is answering those clarifications. Then comes the japa. The third one. The japa. In japa, we said there is
A loud chant, silence, the tongue movement,
and then only mind chant. Chanting is japa is at 3 grades. First, loud chant. Have you ever noticed in those days, I don't know whether they are doing it now or not, I don't see anybody doing it nowadays, but in those days they do that. When you go to school and start studying, they will tell you to read loud. Do you remember? Nowadays, they don't do that. I don't know why they don't do that only. It's all, everything is happening in silence, as though everybody is Ramana Maharshi now. I'm not seeing anybody reading loud at all. I ask these kids, do you read loud? No, we don't read loud. I said, okay, maybe it's so advanced that we are also backward. I don't know. So that first thing is to read aloud. Why? Why? What is the psychology of why do you have to chant aloud? Why do you have to read aloud? When you are reading aloud, you are hearing to what you are reading. Concentration starts, that's how. It's a deep psychology. When I'm talking, you are all listening. I am also listening. It means I need to, it means concentration is happening. That's why in the music programs, the lecture thing, they say, no, put it down, put the volume low, raise it up here. Why? Because we want to hear it rightly. So it's not that when you are chanting, you are the one who's hearing it first. When you are hearing it first, the capacity to concentrate is more. Because we want to avoid distractions. And what is the way to avoid distraction? Level number 1, chant it loud. Chant loud. There are people who read loud. There are people who chant loud. In school, my sister used to read so loud. She will read so loud that we can't even. I said, she will read so loud. Why are you shouting like that? She will say, no, if I don't do, I can't understand, she said. If I don't read it loud, I can't understand. I used to think, how does that work? At least I used to think, how does it work? How does it work? Much later, it is understood. When I am talking, you are not the listener. I am also the listener. Concentration develops. That's why step number 1 is always loud chant. Even when you go to the Vedic schools and all that, they will say, don't think that you are so smart to know the meaning first. Learn how to chant first. If you can't even chant first, learn to like, it's like saying you don't even know how to pronounce A, B, C, D properly. You won't even know how to pronounce A, B, C, D properly, but you'll want to sit and listen to a Shakespeare discourse. What will they do? Go back, same thing. What will they do? Therefore, first thing is loud. It's always loud. Over a period of time, the mind will develop an affinity and it will not wander. I still remember the first few months of Gayatri, I used to chant loud. I used to chant so loud. Because he said, you must chant loud, you must chant loud. So happens sometimes that I won't be even aware that I'm chanting loud sitting in the bus going to the school. Somebody will say, the driver started liking me so much for that. So even if I'm few minutes late, he will wait. Alapur bus stand, that fellow will wait. The conductor will come and say, no, time ஆயிடுச்சு வண்டி எடுப்பா. He will, the driver will say, இருப்பா அந்த ஐயர் பையன் எங்க வந்துன்னு இருக்கிறான், he will say. Because he can see me walking from the distance. He will say, அந்த ஐயர் பையன் வந்துன்னு இருக்கிறான், wait பண்ணுப்பா, let him come. Because the next bus is 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes only is the bus. So where do you do that? So I used to loud. And then it becomes, and then slowly it becomes, and then the loud will reduce to whispers. Then it will reduce to whispers. Then it will reduce to whispers. You will say, oh my God, just, you will chant. But then when you chant, what happens? Your mouth will not open, whisper will not happen, but the tongue will be moving inside. Lips will move. First lips will move. Sometimes you can say in the airport, train and bus, no. They're not talking to anybody, but they're talking to themselves. But their But the lip movement, suddenly they'll go. They'll go. Suddenly they are talking to themselves, not loud. They are not mad or anything. That's how it happens. Are you able to follow? Then and then it will come to whispers, and then it will the lip movement will not happen, but the tongue movement will happen. At a later stage, that also stops, where the mind will just dhara. That's called dharana. When the mind itself flows uninterruptedly towards the flow of chant goes uninterruptedly, like the Taila Dhara, you have mastered japa. Are you able to follow? So for all that, there is this method, which is what we said last week in the japa technique. So in the beginning stages, what does one have to do? Understand how it works theoretically, and don't try to do all this simultaneously. Try to chant loud. Sir, I'm trying to chant loud, but people in the house are all creating too much of problem. Now what do we do? All that you have to handle. You don't know what to do for all that you need to, handle. சரியா? Yes.
The doubt arose because to come to the end stage where it is single pointedness, where just the Om is there and there is a prolonged period of silence between two chants. To come to that stage, we have to have the preparation from here. So initially there is plenty of thoughts that is disturbing even while chanting. So my question was, what is the first thing that you should do that at least you hear the chanting first instead of your own thoughts, which is
You should chant loud. That's why we said you should chant loud. You must chant loud. What do you have to do? You have to go into a room, close the door, and chant loud. There is no other way. Haridas Giri will say it so beautifully. People are not chanting loud because they feel ashamed, he says. They are so ashamed that what people will think, what others around them will think, they try to keep it to themselves. He says, chant loud. Ramatirtha will say, go to the rooftops and scream on top of their voice, he said. Ramatirtha will say, go to the rooftop and scream. Don't do that. At least in the room, Atla, you can close the door and chant loud. You have to follow? You need to do loud.
because it has to progressively decrease to come to Om. Yeah. So
one day it will come. What is the starting point? Loud chant.
And then because there are so many practices given, so my doubt was which practice should come where. So
depending on the day, you mix match. You say 15 minutes loud chant. That's what I said in the beginning itself. Mix match. All these practices has to be mix matched.
For the thought to reduce.
Yes. For the thought to reduce. All these practices has to be mix matched. You follow? Next clarifications. In the Bhakti school, they'll tell you only japa works. Is this scripturally true or misinterpreted? It is misinterpreted, exaggeratedly quoted. It's not misinterpretation. There is a difference between misinterpretation and quoting something exaggerated. Bhakti alone will work, is exaggerated. Jnanam alone will work to the person who's in the initial stages of spiritual growth, to go and give him the Advaita Jnanam and tell him that Advaita Jnanam alone will help you to grow is the same mistake. It is not misinterpretation. It is exaggerating one. In some contexts, the scriptures themselves exaggerate to convey a point. That's why in this classroom, we keep visiting the formulas again and again and again so that you don't get into this trap. The scriptures themselves exaggerate, which I have explained in one of the classes. The Arthavada and all, I explained in one of the classes why they do that. You must remember that, and then you should understand how it works in the context. You follow? It's not misinterpretation. It is exaggeration. and they tend to exaggerate. At times, they themselves will tend to exaggerate. Next one. The effect of your desires can have longevity for your lifetime. But your desires will not your entire lifetime because specific desires can't be nityam. That's what I said. The effect of desires, the effect of your desires will have longevity. But the specific desires will keep changing. Are you able to follow? That's what I said. I don't know why I said that. Okay. Question on that. Is this correct understanding? Is this correct understanding? Na? Is my understanding correct? Huh? Is this correct understanding means I think he's asking, is my understanding correct? So I'm assuming he's asking, is my understanding correct? Amit. What is that understanding? So he's giving his understanding now. So I can have a desire to be rich. End up being rich. He's saying I can have a desire to be rich, end up being rich, and then what happened? Show that. And then what happened? The question got more nimsham. End up being rich for the rest of my life, but my desire to be rich will change or exhaust itself. Is my understanding correct? That's the clarification. புரியுதா? எனக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியல. I will give the answer anyway. Amit, you have a desire to be rich and you end up being rich. Will the desire exhaust? No, desire will not exhaust, but you will be disappointed with richness. That's how you change. Are you able to follow? You will be disappointed with richness. Why you will be disappointed with richness? Because you develop the desire for being rich for what? For something to happen in you, no. You wanted to be rich because you wanted something to happen. Now, you became rich, but what you thought will happen didn't happen. Therefore, what will happen? You will get disappointed with richness and the mind will shift to something else now. What it will shift to? At one point of time, you became so rich because you thought accumulation is the right way. Now it will change to what? Giving away 99% in charity will give happiness. So either way, it will keep changing. Are you able to follow? So you want to become rich, you chase the desire, you become rich. You have a desire to become rich, you chase riches, you become rich. It should exhaust itself. So logically speaking, what should happen? The desire should contentment, and then it should stop there. Why is changing? Change implies that you got it, but what you thought you are going to get out of it didn't happen. Therefore, you change. You marry, what you thought is going to get out of marriage didn't happen. Therefore, the desire changes. For what? Better I wasn't married. Isn't it? Better I wasn't married. At one point in time, I thought married. At another point in time, maybe that was better. One of the weird person in my life. Rajimami, you know, that man's husband, you know, she'll get very angry at the mention of that man only. Because on the marriage day, we were sitting. He's a very, he has been with me for so long. I had a lot of respect for him and all that. And my father called him for my wedding and everything. So I went and sat next to him just out of respect. How are you, Mama? Nalla irkella, everything, sir. All that. He's not answering any question of mine. He's just looking at me straight like this. 2 minutes later, are you mad? He's straight. Are you mad? I'm like, okay. I know what he's saying. No, I'm like, okay. Enachu, Mama. No, I said, Enachu, Mama. Hey, from the, because he's seeing me from childhood. His wife is a lady, with her only I used to go to that old age room or that old age home and all that. So that's the family. He knows me from childhood. Yeah. At the age of 9 only, Upanayanam was done. Avlo Gayatri solva, Acharya kittallam pova, and then you studied this, and then you did this, you went there, studied this, that. After everything, why are you getting married today? On the day of 10 minutes before my marriage, he's asking me. Now, I came and told this just to, what to do. I'm getting bored in the marriage. So I told Ranjini, see, this is what that man is saying. What do we do? Ask. Now she's fuming now. He said, what an idiotic family. You came to bless or you came to say why? Poor man, he's having such a misery in the marriage. He's thinking why? So at one point of time, it's not that desire didn't get exhausted, it changed. Are you able to follow? Why are you able to follow? Why it changes? Specific desire will change. What is a specific desire? I want to get married. I want to get out of marriage. It will change. I want wealth. I will not share my wealth with anybody. One kind of desire. Another kind of desire, I want to share everything of mine and I want to die empty-handed. Desire. It keeps changing like that. That's what I said. Amit, are you able to follow? So you will not get, it will not get exhausted. It will simply change. You get married, the desire for marriage will not get exhausted. A new desire will come. What? The opposite of it will come. That's what as a concept, I have always said this. What you see, remember this. What you see as a better future will be the exact opposite of your past. Have you ever observed that? Whatever you see as a better future will not be the continuity of the past. It will be the opposite of it. That's why we say past and future are the specific desire keeps changing. What is the specific desire? In the past, I want to get married. Now it changes to some. So it keeps changing like that. Are you able to follow? But one thing is clear. What? Desiring as such will continue. Desiring as such will continue. Now we are aiming to come to a point in life where desiring will stop. Instead of moving from specific desires. Instead of moving from specific desires, we want to stop the very desiring itself. How to do that? Antaranga sadhana, Bahiranga sadhana, blah, all that is a many janma project it is. Next clarification. Why does Japamala have 108 beads? I said last time also the numbers. Yeah. on an average, they say a human, not according to the anatomy of the modern science. According to the Vedic methodology and their thing, a human being has X number of breaths in a day. I told you also, 108 into 200. Some number will come. That is the number of breaths a human being takes in a day. Each and every breath is counted as a thought, figuratively. Each and every breath is counted as a thought. You follow? Therefore, in order to remember, they divided. It's a very simple mathematical division. 108 into 200 will give you 21,600. I don't know. I'm talking from my memory. I don't know whether the numbers is correct or not. Put that number. That's why they have 108 beats. It means what? If you have done 10 japamala in a day, you know this much you have thought about God. This much you have thought about God. It's a practice. Say all this japamala and all that is an initial practices to get into that. After a period of time, it will keep running in the background like the Shruti. Then japamala and all is not required. You don't sit with japamala for the entire life. You start with it so that there is a discipline. Otherwise, you will do. Otherwise, you will chant randomly according to your wishes. Today, I feel like chanting so much, I will chant. Oh, for the next 3 days, I don't feel like chanting at all, I will not chant. The initial stages to bring about disciplines, certain external aids will be key. That's why this Japamala is a very important spiritual discipline, which all religions follow. It's not only here. Every religion will have this Japamala. You know that, no? All religions have Japamala. They do that. Different names they have for it. That's all. Next one. What are the procedural details to do japa? What are the correct mechanics for doing japa? Is just reciting the mantra important or the mechanics as important? I think we spoke about all that already. The procedural details for japa and all that, I think we spoke about it, but then I'll try to quickly give the concepts. Japa should start with first thing is the mantra. Mantra. Have the japamala. Have a fixed time. Have a fixed time. Have a fixed place. Chapter 6 talks about it. Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita talks about it. A seat not too soft, too hard, not too high, not too low. All these procedural details is given in chapter 6. Taking care of everything as in the procedural details, what will be called as the procedural details for meditation. For there, the word meditation is not used in the sense of dhyanam. The word meditation is used in the sense of japa only, even there. It doesn't use it in the way that we understand meditation. Because in Vedas, in Vedanta, japa is always spoken about a lot. Meditation will not be spoken at all. Today, meditation is spoken about a lot, and japa is completely ignored. Japa is not meditation. All that we have studied already. I'm not repeating all that. So procedural details, you find it in chapter 6. The seat not too high, not too low, etc. And then he says, bring your breath under control. Pranayama. The very big problem with the word pranayama is this. For breath control, there is a specific Sanskrit word for breath control. Pranayama is not breath control. There is a very specific Sanskrit word for breath control. Breath means swasa. We will not say prana. Breath means swasa. Swasa ayama. Breath control is called swasa ayama, not prana ayama. It's not that. But then, so loosely we keep using words, not even knowing what it is. Pranayama has become that. Now pranayama, I'm not getting into pranayama now. in the procedural details, before doing japa, pranayama is very important. We don't say swasyama, we say pranayama. Why? Because we want to bring about all the indriyas under control. We don't want the physical thing to be under, we want the indriyas and all to be under control. For indriyas and all to be controlled, for for pranayama, pratyahara and all is the preparatory, is all the practices that we are saying, that pranayama, pratyahara and all to work. You can do pranayama as a specific health discipline. You can do pratyahara as a specific health discipline, but your ego will remain the same, your frustration will remain the same, the anger will remain the same, the temptations will remain the same. This pranayama, pratyahara, etc. in the background of dharmic life works better. There are people who can do this without a dharmic life also. Like you can go to yoga class, you can go to gym to ensure that you can indulge more. Isn't it? You can do that also. How does that? Just because you go there doesn't mean anything. So it is in the background of dharmic life, all this works. And to get convinced about dharma, swadhyaya is the only way. The study of the scriptures, the swadhyaya is the only way to keep to get a conviction on the dharma. Therefore, this is the so pranayama, pratyahara, all that to work. Background that is required is a dharmic life. Without a sir, I go for walking in the morning, I go for walking in the evening, sir. 3 blocks came. Of course, walking means how come just because you go for walking, which doctor said your blocks will not come? You will go for walking, still you will get blocks and you will die. What is wrong in that? What is the problem in that? For spiritual growth to happen, all this will be meaningful only in the background of dharmic life. And to get the conviction on the dharmic life, you need to do swadhyaya every day. That's why all this is called integrated practice. Not simultaneous practice, integrated practice. You follow, Amit? It's an integrated practice. Therefore, the procedural details for japa is given there. Mantra you choose. That the mantra that you have to choose your mantra. How to choose your mantra? How to choose the mantra? The affinity towards a deity that you will have. Choose a mantra, choose a word from that and name. Japa will be by some name of God. Use that. Supposing if we say culturally, culturally I'm not used to any God. Culturally, I'm not used to anything. I'm like so shocking. People say, when I say this, I say, but sir, I don't have this training at all into any God. I don't have this training at all into anything. In that case, what do I do? In that case, what do I do? Read some Amar Chitra Katha. Some God will inspire you. Start from there. I'm not joking. Huh? Read Amar Chitra Katha. Some God will inspire you. Start from there. Otherwise, what else to do? Somewhere you have to start, no? Is it okay? Amit? In Pratyahara, everything should be regulated. There is so much to regulate. The way to practice Pratyahara is to close out all other activities and distractions while performing pranayama, japa, etc. Do we do Pratyahara outside of when we are performing sadhana activities, like for example, food fasting? Pranayama, japa is a time restricted practice. Pratyahara is more of general in nature. That's why I gave that example of Pratyahara in the last thing itself. I gave this example of Pratyahara, where you regulate it over a period of time. It's not an, even though it's an everyday practice, The way in which japa can be done for 10 minutes, pranayama should be done only for 5 minutes, but pratyahara will have a different understanding behind it. Next one. Most of our scriptures are either given to us by Saguna, Nirakara, Brahman. Shiva avatars like Krishna, Rama, and Jivan Mukta like Ashtavakra. Saguna Brahman are a material manifestation of a Nirguna Brahman, and the Jivan Mukta has realized they are Brahman. What is the similarity and difference between Brahman and a Jivan Mukta? Answer. Jivan Mukta is someone, you see Brahman in blood and flesh in someone in front of you. Brahman per se is the Sakshi Chaitanya. Brahman is witnessing enlivener. That is Nirakara. There is no Nirakara means it doesn't do anything. Witnessing is not an action. Enlivening is not an action. So Brahman is Sakshi Chaitanya. That's the meaning. Sakshi Chaitanya means petrol in the car. We have this example, petrol in the car. No, what is that petrol in the car talking about it? Sakshi Chaitanya it is. It doesn't do anything. But without it, nothing can happen. That is Brahman. That is God. For motivation and growth to happen, what will help you? This is what will help you. A Jivan Mukta associating with the Jivan Mukta and getting inspired and motivated through them, which is what we have already studied. Sasangatve, Nissangatvam, Nissangatve, Nirmohatam, all that we have studied already. So now we are in the concluding portion of the text. It is expected that you should remember all that and connect. Because in Satsanga itself, we said associating with the good people, fellow sadhaks, associating with the guru, etc., the Jivan. Therefore, Brahman and Jivan Mukta are one and the same from the angle of Brahman. Difference is the Jivan Mukta will be seen in flesh and blood. That's only if at all there is a difference. But technically speaking, there's no difference between the two. Ashtavakra, there is a Ramatirtha, there is a Ramana Maharishi, there is a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, there is an Ashtavakra, there is the Rama, there is the Krishna, and then there is the Sakshi Chaitanya. All are one and the same or different? All are one and the same. They are not different at all. They are all one and the they are all one and the same. As a seeker, as a sadhak, benefit comes from whom? The Jivan Muktas. The benefit to us comes from the Jivan Muktas. Because they are the representation of that. We need that. You follow? Amit. Over. Yeah, one more we'll take. Yes.
I wanted to understand where does the Sankalpa fit in this procedural details for japa? That is first question. And second is Sankalpa essential, or rather, how long is it essential to have Sankalpa? Or later Sankalpa is not needed at all?
The question is regarding Sankalpa before japa. What is Sankalpa?
Where does it fit in that procedural detail?
Where does Sankalpa fit in? First one, what is Sankalpa? What is Sankalpa? We have seen that also in the past somewhere. Sankalpa means statement of what do you call the statement of purpose? Before you do something, you have that. No, what is it called in English? Statement of purpose. That is Sankalpa. I am doing this for what? That is called Sankalpa. I am doing this for what? So Sankalpa is the reminder. Are you able to follow? Sankalpa means reminder. In the initial stages, you need constant reminders. Over a period of time, because it has become part and parcel of your DNA, you don't need sankalpa. The initial stages, sankalpa is needed. Sankalpa means a reminder. Yeah. Mamopata, samasta, durita, kshayadvara, that's how they do the sankalpa. What does that sankalpa mean? You don't have to say the Sanskrit mantra. That's not it. What does it mean? That everybody should remember. What they should remember, and I am sitting for chanting, what am I chanting for? That is sankalpa. When I am fasting, what am I fasting for? When I am exercising, what am I exercising for? When I am doing breathing, what am I doing breathing for? All this should be remembered. You follow? That is called sankalpa. Great.
So this should precede the procedural details.
It is part of the procedural details. When you start something, the first thing that you do is what?
And then the seating arrangement.
The purpose comes first or in the middle or in the last. When does purpose come? In the statement of purpose, when will it come? In the beginning, it will come. That is why everything starts with sankalpa. Seriya? Is it okay? Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya viveka vicharam jhapya sameta samadhi vidhanam purvavadanam mahadavadanam. So nitya viveka vicharam we have studied. Pranayama we studied. Pratyahara we studied. Yeah. Pratyahara also we studied last week. We elaborated that. Pratyahara is studied. Pranayama, Pratyahara, Nitya Viveka, Chara, Japa. All that we have studied till now. Samadhi, that we have to study. What is Samadhi? Samadhi here doesn't mean liberation. Samadhi here, Japya Samadhi. So Japa and Samadhi. Because of the Sandhi words here, we don't hear it separately. So Samadhi. What is Samadhi here? Practicing quietude for a few minutes in a day is Samadhi. Put aside everything. Just want to be vacant of thoughts and emotions and actions for a few seconds is called practicing, trying to practice. You will try to practice. In a few seconds, everything will come back. That's okay. But that also you practice, Samadhi. I practiced Samadhi for 45 minutes, sir. That person would have been enlightened by now. No thoughts came to me, sir. Correct. Definitely would have been in deep sleep by then. Yeah, if you have been in the waking state, in a few seconds, thought will keep popping up. But still you practice. But still you try to that. So what is Samadhi? In Japa, you are trying to remember the God, but the thoughts are going elsewhere. After you do Japa for a period of time, you will be inspired, motivated for a few minutes or for a few seconds. In that few seconds, few minutes, you will be absorbed in that mantra fully without any distraction. That is called Samadhi. First meaning of the word Samadhi is vacant of everything. Don't practice that. One day it will happen. Second meaning of Samadhi is what? Absorption into that one. Absorption into that one. What is that absorption into one? Like, for example, when you are watching a movie, you get so absorbed in that movie for a few minutes where nothing distraction, no. What did you practice in that few minutes? What did you practice in that few minutes? That is called a Samadhi. Are you able to follow? That That samadhi you should be able to do in relation to God. That samadhi you should be able to, that kind of absorption should happen in relation to God. Again, I repeat, example, you watch a movie. You will not watch the movie concentration 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Would you watch it? You will not watch it. Nobody can do that. But some portion you will be totally absorbed. That absorption is called samadhi. Now, who's the very good director? Who's a very good director? Who can make you absorbed for a long period of time, so the distractions doesn't happen. Yeah. That's why these masters are master directors. They are making so much of effort to elaborate and explain to make us get absorbed. That is called samadhi. Absorption without a distraction is called samadhi. In japa, distractions will happen, we said. In samadhi, for a short period of time, distractions will not happen. So you focus on pranayama, japa, etc. Samadhi will be an effect of it for a few minutes in a day. So next day, what you do, you don't practice samadhi. You practice, what do you go back to practicing? Pranayama, japa, etc. That will lead to samadhi for a few seconds in a day. Leave it at that. Next day, what do you start practicing? Third day, what do you start practicing? Pranayama, japa, etc. Over a period of time, the samadhi will be prolonging. To start with, it will be few seconds. And then the seconds will slowly increase into few more seconds, few more seconds, few more seconds, few more minutes. A time will come where if you are totally absorbed in it 24/7 without distraction, you have reached a very good level of spiritual growth. All this is aimed at that. Therefore, japya means japa, samadhi means this. There is nothing to discuss about samadhi in detail. Pranayama, we can start, pratyahara, we can, that's why samadhi is an indicator of, samadhi is an everyday indicator of how well you have practiced all other spiritual paths. Again, samadhi is the indicator of how you have lived your day. Supposing you have lived your day in a dharmic way, whatever possible dharmic way on a given day, and then did this pranayama, and then did this pratyahara, you did your swadharma, all that needs to be done if you have done in a day, where it will show. So samadhi becomes the quality control. Samadhi is the quality control. Therefore, you don't practice samadhi. You do everything rightly, it will show in samadhi. If it is not showing in samadhi, it means you need to go back to the preparatory practices with more intensity. Ram Subramaniam, புரியுதா? Samadhi ஜாஸ்தி பண்றேன்னு பண்ணக்கூடாது. Yeah. Quality control problem on this, you have to go back to, you will go back. You will go back and set things right so that it becomes better. Therefore, there's nothing much to talk about samadhi also. But then samadhi is the indicator again. It's a very good, so it's a very good indicator. So what are all the practices that we have studied till now? Pranayama, regulation of pranas. Read the translation. It will not be said as breath activities. It will be called as life's activities. What are the life's activities here? Indriya activity. Life's activity, indriyas it is. So, indriya nigraha, regulation of pranas, withdrawal from sense activity, pratyahara, pranayama, pratyahara, focus on distinction between eternal and ephemeral, which is Nitya Anitya Viveka Vichara, practice of chanting, which is japa, silencing the mind, which is samadhi. All this put together is called antaranga sadhana. All this put together is called antaranga sadhana. Now, so whenever you understand spiritual practices, you must have this combination. What is the combination? That bahiranga sadhana that we studied there. What is the bahiranga sadhana we studied there? Geyam Gita, Nama Sahasram, Jeyam Sripati, Rupam Ajasram, all that we studied there. When we studied that, we called it as Bahiranga Sadhana. So, spiritual practices is a combination of Antaranga Sadhana and Bahiranga Sadhana. And the quality control that you are doing your Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana rightly is Samadhi. And then comes the important teaching. What is that important teaching? Kuru Avadanam Mahat Avadanam. There is a Hindi word, no? Savadan means what?
Cautious, careful.
There's a Hindi word, no? Aanu pakudadu. It's a very ordinary Hindi word, no?
Careful.
Jagrata, Jagrata, Jagrata. It's for Avadanam is the root word for all that. Srikanth, I know Hindi Telugu nachikadu, Hindi theriyadu. I just don't know a word of Hindi, and such a, I tell you, illame irkalam. We can live life without that. We can live life without the language and attain enlightenment also. Srikanth, I love Vanave Vana. I'm saying, I said I have heard this word so many times. I used to think. Yeah, but then we'll use a Jagrata, Jagrata, Jagrata. Do all the spiritual practices with Jagrata. Why? Why it is very important to do this Kuru Avadanam, Mahad Avadanam? The human mind always has this problem. What is the problem? Hari. We are all in a hurry. Patience now will go back to tamas. Do something now we'll get into rajas. Again I repeat. Patience now we go into tamas. Do something now we'll go into rajas. Sattva arkanu. Yeah, tamas irukudadu, rajas irukudadu. You have to be sattvic. You know, nothing in creation will be in a hurry except human. You know that even when the lion or the tiger is hungry, it will not just keep jumping and rushing and running. What it will do even there, even when it is hungry, it will be very jagrata. Yeah, it will sit, it will see with great care, it will go step by step by step. Have you noticed all that? It will go step by step by step, and then the final plunge. Even they are far superior to us. Man. Straight away it will not start running. And the human mind wants to do what? Guru Avadanam, Mahat Avadanam. Why he is repeating it twice? He is repeating it twice because the result orientation in the human mind is so much. Result orientation means greed. That's all. It's just being greedy. That's all. Either opposite of avadhanam. Opposite of that is what? Two problems. One is negligence, pramada. We will be very negligent in the antaranga bahiranga sadhana, but we want a samadhi to happen straight away. Are you able to follow now? The antaranga bahiranga sadhana will be very negligent, indifferent to that antaranga bahiranga, but then we want the growth to happen immediately, the hari. What is spiritual life means? A life of Shraddha and Dhriti. Kuru Avadhanam, Mahatavadhanam means a life of Shraddha and Dhriti. There's no hurry at all. There's no hurry at all. When you are in a hurry, suppressions will happen. When you are in a hurry, suppressions will happen. And wherever suppressions will happen, that suppression will make that personality ugly. Suppression will make that personality ugly, and that ugliness will start manifesting itself. That's why the fellow said, all of a sudden, sir, I have been doing all this for so long. Suddenly some vague materialistic thought came. Suddenly a vague sensual thought came, and I just got carried away by that. If you have been rushing into the spiritual practices, don't rush. Do it. They are not saying do it slowly. Yeah? It's not the linguistic opposite here. Don't be negligent. Don't be negligent. Don't be greedy. Kuru avadhanam, mahat avadhanam means don't be negligent. Don't be greedy. In material world, speed, hurry, efficiency, greed works. Again, in material world, what will work? Speed, efficiency, hurry, racing, all that will work in the material field. That is why in the material field, who is always glorified? Who's glorified in the material field? Number one is always glorified. The number one is always glorified. First rank is glorified, isn't it? First rank is glorified. For how long you should take first rank? I asked. What if first rank? For how long you have to take first rank? From kindergarten to what? Graduation, post-graduation, super specialty, what? Right? Fully you have to keep. You miss something, you. Therefore, what works in the material field? Hurry, speed, number one. Spiritual practice is exactly the opposite, because in the spiritual practice, you are supposed to say after you. In the road, you go and say after you. When will you reach here? You go out of the road here and you say after you. You will never ever reach the destination. What do you do then? You follow? Spiritual path is equated to the razor's edge. Spiritual path is equated to walking on the razor's edge. If you don't know how to walk rightly, you will hurt yourself badly. If you don't know how to, imagine walking on the razor. There is a technique you can learn to walk. But then what happens? If you little slip this side, little slip that side, you will break, you will cut completely, isn't it? You know, in the mountain roads, high up, there is always some parts of the road is called death road. Have you ever gone on those roads? It will be called death road. If you go to Badrinath, Kedarnath, some portion of the road will be called death road. Okay. On the plains, some portion of the road will be called accident-prone zone. Some portion of the road on the plains will be called accident-prone. So we have to be careful there. When you go to the higher and higher levels, it's called death road. Why it's called death road? It is steep, narrow, dangerous, where a person cannot say, I was just careless for a second, sir. Just for 1 second, I got careless. You can't afford to be careless at all there. That is why before getting into the spiritual path, you have to ask yourself 100 times, 1,000 times, do I really want to do this? Somebody will keep on talk, somebody will talk and talk and talk. But you need to ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to get into this? Having gotten convinced that having convinced that you've gotten into this, you need to follow this practice. What is the practice? Guru Avadanam Mahat Vadanam. You keep aside pramada, negligence. You keep aside greed. Opposite of greed and negligence is avadanam. And that he repeats it at twice. Anything that is repeated is an indication that lot of emphasis must be placed on that. When they repeat it again and again and again, it means it has to be wherever you want to emphasize something, you will repeat, no? You can never ask, what is sonna porada? You cannot ask that. You can't say, just say it once and forget it. No, why are you repeating it? Repetition is an indicator that it wants to be reinforced. What is the reinforcement that is being tried here? The reinforcement is this. Please perform these spiritual practices with care. Great. First he says avadhanam, care. And then he gives another qualification, another adjective to it. Mahat avadhanam. Perform it with care, perform it with great care. Why? You see, everything in creation, everything takes its own time. Isn't it? Everything takes its own time. That's why human being has intellect, sir. We can speed it up. We can fast track it. I don't know what all words you can use. You can double the effort, triple the effort. You can double the effort, triple the effort. What will happen? Therefore, in spiritual path, it's not doubling or tripling the effort. In spiritual path, what is important? The Kuru Avadanam, the Mahat Avadanam, the Kuru Avadanam, Mahat Avadanam, as in you are not neglecting any practices. Number two, you are not hurry. You are not in a hurry. You are not greedy. It means what? Shraddha and Dhriti. If you do these two, if you do all this Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana properly, growth is assured. That was he says. Growth is assured. With this, almost Bhaja Govindam is over. with this Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana, Bhaja text is almost over. There is one more verse which is more, there is one more verse and then we'll conclude the text. Yes.
I still don't understand the specific term Guru, Mahat, and Avadana.
Avadhanam means, I said it. Mahati means great. You must have great care. Don't be negligent. Don't be in a hurry. It's called Avadhanam. Mahatu means extremely careful. First he is saying careful. Mahata Avadhanam means extremely careful. Kuru means be. Be careful, be extremely careful. Are you able to follow? Be careful, be extremely careful. That's what he says, Kuru Avadhanam, Mahat Avadhanam. The word Kuru means do, be. Be careful. But then he looks around. People are not getting that message. So he's reiterating it by saying Mahat Avadhanam. First he says Kuru Avadhanam and then he goes on to say Mahat Avadhanam. Very the test that you are growing spiritually is Dhriti will be there, Shraddha will be there, but you will not be result oriented. Dhriti will be there, Shraddha will be there, but result orientation will not be there. What is the indicator of result orientation? How long should I keep doing this, sir? How long should I keep doing this? That question will never come to that person. Why? Because the very spiritual practices itself is so. The very spiritual practices themselves, the person has started to understand, know what is it. Therefore, he will not ask for how long should I do. It's like the person who has started getting an interest in the subject will not worry about for how long should I study. You'll ask the question, how long should I study only when you don't develop an interest, but you quickly want to finish it off. Yeah, you quickly want to finish it. Why? Because you don't have a natural interest in that. Now, for the one who has developed the natural interest in the spiritual path, spiritual practices, one problem will not come. What is that problem? Hurry. Indication of hurry is for how long? இது எவ்வளவு நாள் சார் பண்ணினே இருக்கிறது? Practically, sir, what is the practical method? If somebody uses the word practical method, means Shraddha is not there, Dhriti is not there. The one who has Shraddha and Dhriti will understand what? It's a journey and you have to cover the journey. You can't be in a hurry and you can't be in a hurry to do the, you can't be in a hurry. The journey has to be, it's a journey. You need to be, patience is not at all a virtue anymore. Patient is seen as a negative quality. Patient alla irukudadu. If you are patient, everybody will run over you. Everybody will run over you. Therefore, be first. Be first. Not only you should be first, you should never allow anybody to run over you. And what is the only way to ensure that nobody will run over you? What is the only way that you will ensure that nobody will run over you? You always be first. Correct? For you to be always first, how will you be first always? You can never be first by saying after you. You have to be first by, running over, isn't it? There are 30 students in the classroom. If you say, after you get first rank. After you, I'll get first rank. After you, I'll get first rank. After you, I'll get first rank. By default, this child will be first rank always. And that first rank will not be agitating and frustrating. Supposing you have to run over everybody and get. Next exam, first rank will be torturous. Third year, fourth year, it will be frustrating. You will not even want to do it anymore. Why? Because you are constantly running. So Kuravadhanam, Mahadavadhanam means you are not in a, you are having Dhriti, you are having Shraddha, when you are having this Dhriti and Shraddha, the joy comes in the practice. What is the practice? Today, that's what introspection should teach you. Introspection should tell you what all I need to do for today, I did. Reflection should tell you what all you have to do in a day. Introspection should tell you what all I wanted to do, I have done. A unique combination. What is the unique combination of spiritual growth? Anxiety and worry will disappear. Joy and singing and dancing will appear. There you know you are growing. What worry and anxiety will go. When worry and anxiety goes, what it gets replaced with? Worry and anxiety will go, and then we'll sit like. What will come? Worry and anxiety will go. What it gets replaced with? Joy and happiness, whistling, dancing. That person is enthusiastic, cheerful, bubbling with energy, sharing that with everybody. Guru avadhanam, mahat avadhanam. All this you do. All this you must do. What you must do? The antaranga sadhana, the bahiranga sadhana. Integrate. Now I'm summarizing both. The antaranga sadhana, the bahiranga sadhana, integrate according to your according to what you could do in a given day, you proportion it. According to you, you proportion it. And when you do that, have Shraddha in it and have Dhriti in it. So antaranga sadhana, bahiranga sadhana, Shraddha and Dhriti. Some days will be good, some days will be average, some days will be nothing will happen. Some days you feel like getting up and not doing anything at all. Some days you wake up doing with enthusiastic. Some day you can drag yourself and do. All this will happen. Dhriti will take care of this. Don't whip yourself. Don't punish yourself. Don't keep. Dhriti will take care of all these fluctuations. Dhriti and Shraddha will take care of all this fluctuation. You continue to do this without pramada, without this. What will come? Worry and anxiety will disappear. That kind of worry, anxiety kind of emotions will disappear. What kind of emotion will appear? Joy. Joy for no reason other than joy. Why are you happy in Geta? There's no happiness. Are you happy? Yes. Why are you happy? You don't need you need reason to have worry and anxiety. You don't need a reason to be happy. Yeah. Because you are so used to, that's why if somebody is happy also, you say, why are you happy? You are so happy. That you are so sad. Yeah. You need a reason to be worry and anxiety, but you don't need any reason to be happy. That is spiritual growth. That is Shraddha, that is Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana, combined with Dhriti and Shraddha. will take you to the point of happiness without any. And when you are happy without any reason 24/7, unmattavat. Yeah. When you are happy without reason or that's why in the world, if somebody says, I'm just happy, I don't have reason to be happy, you'll be scared of that person. Ram Subramaniam. சிரிச்சினே இருக்கிறாரு. Why? I'm just laughing. கொஞ்சம் why? Because unmatta, like some madness it is. Because worry also needs a reason. This person is so joyful without reason. Yeah. Compassionate without reason. Yeah. The goddess name. What a beautiful name it is. There is a name for goddess, no? She is compassionate without reason. You don't see somebody in misery to be compassionate. She is compassionate, that's all. Yeah. Similarly, you will be joyful, that's all. That's all it is. You are just joyful. Why? There's no reason to be happy. You are just happy. People are only, why are you happy? Why are you happy? You'll say, why are you sad? So you should ask, instead of trying to explain why are you happy, ask another, why are you sad? That fellow will have some reason. You will say, I don't have that. That's all. Problem sorted out. Yeah. Vijayarangan, Purida. Yeah, you are so happy. Puravadhanam, Mahadavadhanam. These are all the indicators. What are the indicators? Samadhi is one indicator of spiritual growth. Yeah. Samadhi is one indicator of spiritual growth. Second indicator of spiritual growth is you can be joyful. Happy without joy, without any, like children, no, happy without any reason. Or the inconsequential things can give you happiness. Yeah. Why are you happy? I had my breakfast. Idhudella happiness. Huh? Why are you so happy? I fasted today. You will be happy. That is spiritual growth. So, Mitra, are you able to follow? This is spiritual growth. What? You don't need to, you don't need extraordinary big things to be happy in life. Things like this, which we do on an everyday basis, we should know how to be happy with it. That is the spiritual practice. Kuru avadhanam, mahad avadhanam. Clear indicators. The third indicator of spiritual growth is you will be able to laugh at your own past. That is an indicator of another indicator of Kuru avadhanam, mahad avadhanam. How are you doing all this? We need indicators, quality control. First indicator I said is Samadhi. Second indicator is happy for no reason. If you feel scared of the state, say everyday things is happiness. What is everyday things you are happy? Why you are happy? I just brushed my teeth. I'm happy. I had breakfast. I'm happy. I got profit, sir. Therefore, I'm happy. That person is such a spiritual practice didn't happen at all. The way you say joy and sorrow should not success or failure, joy, no, this person is happy for no. Second indicator. The third indicator of spiritual growth, that you are doing the spiritual practices with dhriti and shraddha, is what you will be able to laugh at your own. You will be able to laugh at your own past. Like in the school reunion, you will not say sorry to each other, isn't it? Hello, said, sir, in the reunion, I must apologize to the two boys. He said, no, I used to bully him so much. The other two fellows didn't even remember getting bullied. Huh? The other two fellows didn't even remember getting bullied. Yeah, he said, they are asking. That is not growth at all. It means that fellow is still stuck in. It means that fellow is still stuck there. What is this limb? The teachers will be there in the reunion. We'll tell the teachers also, I said. I told the sir, sir, seeing you will be so scared. Now, for a split second, it is coming. For a split second, it is coming. He will come and he'll just come affectionately hug and hey, summa poi sollade, he will say. Hey, he said that. Don't lie, he said. You outgrow that. So what is the third indicator of spiritual growth? You will be able to laugh at not mocking and ridiculing others. அது tamasic state, asura அது. Yeah, don't ridicule, mock others. You will be able to laugh at your own past. Laughing at your own past is an indication that you have become wise now. Otherwise, you are still stuck in ignorance. In the past, you are ignorant. You are able to laugh at your own past means you are able to laugh at your own. இது இல்லாம இவ்வளவு கஷ்டப்பட்டோம். Somebody said, I don't like you. அதுக்கு அவ்வளோ 3 contemplated suicide and all for that. Now, would you still cry on that or you laugh at it? You just laugh at it. இதுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு கவலைப்பட்டோம். That girl was telling me last week, 2 weeks back in that evening class. I told her, forget all that. 4 years later, you will come and tell me that you laughed at it. 4 years later, she told me, uncle, you are right. She had some problem about her color. Yeah, some skin color she had, and she had some problem about it. Yeah, people are insulting her, ridiculing her, and all that will happen. I said, don't take it too personal and all. But then I want you to come and tell me very soon that you are laughing at that worry of yours. Then you have grown. Now that she's into the third year of medical school, that's all she's coming and telling me, I'm able to laugh at it now. That is called growth. How do you know that you are doing it rightly? Kuru avadanam, mahat avadanam. These are all the indicators. This is verse number 30. We'll start with verse number 31, the last verse, and then we'll conclude. Bhaja.